Welcome to China in Focus. I'm Tiffany Meyer. Our top story, China has the world's largest standing army, but is its ability to fight wars as good as Beijing says? A remark from a top military official is casting doubt.
The Chinese military is tough on the outside, but weak on the inside. There are a lot of worms inside the military.
U.S. intelligence sounding the alarm to the Senate, warning America is facing an increasingly fragile world order, highlighting China's threat. The House is set to vote on the TikTok bill as early as Wednesday, despite former President Trump flipping his support for banning the app. We look at why. And Chinese nationals make up the fastest growing group entering the U.S. illegally. More on why they're fleeing China. Where does China's warfighting capability actually stand? A remark from a top Chinese military officer is raising questions. China has the world's largest standing army and navy, but corruption inside the military is known to run deep. Here's a closer look.
A remark from a top Chinese official is catching the media's attention. Called He Weidong, he's the vice chairman of China's top military command, the Central Military Commission. In a statement during China's most important political gathering of the year, he pledged to crack down on what he described as China's fake combat ability. Experts say he could mean the Chinese military's ability to fight a war isn't as good as Beijing makes it out to be. That's due to widespread corruption.
Lots of graft in the military. Officials could exaggerate budget numbers when buying new weapons or maintaining equipment, then put the extra money in their own pockets.
Just this January, He Weidong said the military has zero tolerance for corruption, a long-running issue. Chinese leader Xi Jinping has said he's trying to root it out. Over the past decade, over 170 generals have been investigated for corruption. The most recent purge came last December, when Beijing ousted 9 high-level military officers from its legislature. Authorities didn't give reason for their removal, but some of the ousted officials had worked for the Chinese Communist Party, or CCP's, Arms Procurement Department, long believed to be susceptible to corruption. Before that, Beijing fired its defense minister Li Shangfu 2 months after he disappeared from public view. Li used to head the CCP's Equipment Development Department and was believed to have been involved in fraud.
The Chinese military is tough on the outside, but weak on the inside. There are a lot of worms inside the military. Corruption. There is a structural problem. If Xi Jinping keeps rooting out the corruption there, the military could collapse or harbor a resistance against him.
Experts noted fake combat capability could also mean commanders are exaggerating warfighting capabilities when reporting to upper management. All of these issues could heavily impact the military's ability to fight a war.
To discuss the growing doubts about China's warfighting capabilities and the corruption purge within its rocket force, we sat down with General Robert Spalding, retired U.S. Air Force Brigadier General and author of War Without Rules, for more. General Spalding, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you back on the show.
Thanks. Great to be back.
Now, China just finished its biggest political meeting of the year called the Two Sessions. Now, Chinese lawmakers ousted 9 senior military officials from that. Most were from the rocket force, which oversees China's missile and nuclear bases. Now, many say this is a step before more punishment, especially when it comes to corruption issues. Given all the tensions we are seeing in that region, how do you see this fitting into China's military might?
There's 2 ways that it fits into Xi Jinping's plans. The first way is it's a constant part of the purges that goes on to make sure that he has people that are loyal to him in positions of leadership within the People's Liberation Army. The other one is to really prepare the military for being a fighting force. And I think he's been on that path for quite a while now. And I think we're reaching the end stages where I think he thinks the military is prepared for an invasion of Taiwan.
Now, some analysts say that this purge is a blow to Xi Jinping as well as a weakening of the PLA or China's military. Do you agree with that assessment?
No, I don't. I think Xi Jinping is focused on warfighting capability and he's focused on loyalty. Both of those things he's going to need if he invades Taiwan. He's going to need his troops to be loyal and he's going to need them to be capable.
Given that these 9 senior military officers did not appear at the 2 sessions, what kind of message is that sending both internally but also externally to the rest of the world?
Well, I think internally, everybody has the message loud and clear, do what you're told, don't get outside the box. That being said, it doesn't matter if you've done everything right, as Jack Ma found out, all of a sudden you can find yourself on the wrong side of things. I think outside, we're always searching for some reason to not believe that the Chinese Communist Party is as evil as it is or as competent as it is when it comes to committing evil acts. And I think that's a failing on our part. We need to take them seriously. We need to understand that they are seriously committed to destroying our way of life. And they are training and equipping and resourcing the means to be able to do that.
We do continue to see Beijing sending jets and ships around Taiwan to the point that we're not seeing as many reports on that. Given the increase in that and the lessening reports on it, where do you see all of this going?
This is all in preparation for an actual attack. It's the way the Chinese Communist Party thinks. They're preparing. They're trying to get the Taiwanese just not to pay attention. And before you know it, if you got your guard down, then that's when they come.
General Spalding, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Top intelligence officials with the CIA, FBI, and the White House just delivered their annual assessment of global threats. They told a Senate panel that America now faces an increasingly fragile world order and that China stands out among the concerns. Watch.
Today, the United States faces an increasingly complex and interconnected threat.
Avril Haines is the Biden administration's Director of National Intelligence. Alongside 2 other spy chiefs, she pointed to power competitions, transnational challenges, and regional conflicts, calling them challenges to an already fragile U.S.-led world order.
The assistance that is contemplated in the supplemental is absolutely critical to Ukraine's defense right now.
CIA Director William Burns also urged the Senate to keep supporting Ukraine.
We're seen to be walking away from support for Ukraine. Not only is that going to feed doubts amongst our allies and partners in the Indo-Pacific, it's going to stoke the ambitions of the Chinese leadership in contingencies ranging from Taiwan to the South China Sea.
Last month, the Senate passed a $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan. But House Speaker Mike Johnson has yet to show any interest in allowing the House chamber to vote on it. He's repeatedly said the House would not support foreign aid until the government directs funds to managing the southern border crisis. A bill that could decide TikTok's future up for a House vote Wednesday. The proposed measure would ban TikTok from app stores unless it's separated from its Chinese parent company, ByteDance. Leaders of the House panel on the Chinese Communist Party are demanding that app stop its latest pressure campaign, urging its roughly 170 million U.S. users to take action ahead of the vote. NTD's Jeremy Sandberg tells us more.
Leaders of the Select Committee on the CCP told TikTok on Tuesday to stop deceiving users with false information about a bill meant to purge the app of Chinese Communist Party influence. Chairman Mike Gallagher and Ranking Member Raja Krishnamurthy accused TikTok of spreading false claims to manipulate and mobilize Americans on behalf of the Chinese regime.
As outlined in our bipartisan bill, if TikTok is completely divested by CCP-controlled ByteDance, if there is a separation, the app can remain in the United States.
The letter includes a screenshot of TikTok's pop-up with a red Call Now button. The rally call asks users to speak up now before the government strips 170 million people of their constitutional right to free expression. TikTok claims the measure is equivalent to a total ban. The bill would give TikTok's Chinese owner ByteDance about 6 months to divest the short video app. The 2 lawmakers noted TikTok had solicited location information in its campaign, calling the act a new low. The House is set to vote Wednesday under fast-track rules that require a 2/3 yes vote for the bill to pass. President Biden says he would sign the bill if it passes Congress. That's after a House committee unanimously voted to advance the measure last week. Democratic Representative Debbie Dingell says she and other committee members voted to separate TikTok from the Chinese Communist Party, not to ban it.
We've had classified briefings. I thought long and hard, and quite frankly, what TikTok did on Thursday, flooding my office and other offices with calls of kids who didn't know why they were calling us, shows the kind of control that they have. I want TikTok to continue. I don't want the People's Republic of China controlling the data, the access to the data, and manipulating the data that they are doing. It is a threat to our national security.
House Speaker Mike Johnson calls the bill an important bipartisan measure to take on China, the U.S.'s largest geopolitical foe. The bill will likely need at least 60 senators' approval to make it to Biden's desk. Senators from both sides of the aisle are expressing concern about the CCP's access to data through the app and its ability to push propaganda. Some suggest changes are needed if the bill passes in the House.
You could eliminate TikTok, but they could open it up tomorrow, TokTik, whatever you want to call it, and do the same thing.
Former President Trump told CNBC's Squawk Box on Tuesday he believes TikTok is a threat to national security, but that a ban would impact young people and could benefit Facebook and its influence in elections. Trump moved to ban TikTok and WeChat through an executive order while in office, but courts blocked the action after TikTok sued on grounds that a ban would violate free expression and due process rights. Biden bans TikTok on federal devices for around 4 million employees in 2022. Both the FBI and Federal Communications Commission warned TikTok owner ByteDance can share user data, like browsing history, location, and biometrics with the Chinese regime. Jeremy Sandberg, NTD News.
Besides Trump, Elon Musk and a number of lawmakers also oppose the TikTok bill. Kentucky Republican Thomas Massie says the measure would give the president greater power to control the public dialogue, in this case, banning websites or apps. Elon Musk echoed Massey's concern, the ex-CEO saying the bill isn't just about TikTok, it's about censorship and government control. Those comments have been spurred by the lack of specific language in the bill. The rule doesn't specifically apply only to foreign-controlled apps, meaning it could apply to domestic websites in the future. At the same time, Toronto and Florida-based video platform Rumble is eyeing TikTok for other reasons. Rumble's CEO announced on Truth Social that the company is prepared to acquire TikTok in partnership with other U.S. parties, promising that all data would be stored in the U.S. Chinese nationals entering the United States illegally. They make up the fastest growing group of illegal immigrants in California. But why are they fleeing China? NTD's Arian Pastar brings us a closer look from San Diego.
Border Patrol drops off dozens of Chinese nationals every single day right here at this transit center in San Diego, California. Now, these smugglers train Chinese nationals not to talk to media, but we wanted to find out why they're coming to America, and we managed to get a few answers.
I feel that in China, there is no freedom of speech, no human rights, no emphasis on universal values, and no freedom of religion. It is an atheistic region, which contradicts my values because I myself am a Christian. The current situation in China, under the leadership of the country's leaders, is deteriorating rapidly. You know, it's really in dire straits, and the ordinary people are all complaining. You know, this is the scene I see in China. In my opinion, the fundamental reason for this is the lack of faith.
Not all of them criticize the Chinese regime, but they admit that it's better to live in the US than in China.
Because China's economy has not been doing so well in the past 2 years. It's not as good as we had hoped. It's definitely not comparable to the United States, to be honest.
Some of the Chinese men coming to America might not be coming for a better life. That's what Lieutenant Colonel Pete Chambers told me. He's a former Green Beret who was also stationed at the border.
The most dangerous thing would be the cells that are coming in. Okay, so the cell, what I mean by that is groups of men that come in that are networked to each other that could then do something nefarious later on when they're told to do something nefarious later on. That would be a cell.
Now, Chambers told me one of the most important things is to conduct thorough background checks of all individuals coming to the United States. Reporting from San Diego, California, Arian Pastar, NTD News.
You might have noticed how Top Gun Maverick attempted to strip the Taiwanese and Japanese flags off of Tom Cruise's jacket, or how Iron Man 3 inserted a Chinese doctor into the movie who saves the life of Tony Stark. Is it artistic license or something more sinister? These are the issues explored in the groundbreaking new documentary Hollywood Takeover: China's Control in the Film Industry. The NTD original film pulls back the curtain on how Hollywood is helping to further a global adversary's agenda, the consequences that will have on America's future, and what brave individuals are doing to change the tide. The documentary is now available to stream on Epic TV. And for more information about the documentary, please visit HollywoodTakeover.com.
There's something magical about the movies that I just love.
Hollywood invented America to the world in the old days.
And as a medium, it's really powerful. But for some, that power isn't used for good.
Our way of life is being censored by the Chinese Communist Party.
They said, we get a lot of our money out of China. Is there any way you could make this movie a little bit more attractive to the Chinese?
Is it really just about money? Are there other parts at stake?
I had friends in Hollywood who said, this will kill your career. You won't get funding. They're afraid of even mentioning one line.
Chinese influence was playing into what we see in U.S. films.
China said, you can't have that in there. And Hollywood listened.
This is insane. This is a joke, right?
We raised our hand and we dove right into it. But over time, all of us have been punched in the nose.
The Chinese Communist Party followed no rules.
What's at stake? The soul of the nation is at stake.
We want indoctrination access to America. They could basically take over America without firing a shot because they control access to our minds.
And we all know that their goal is global domination.
People have been brainwashed without knowing it.
That's all for today's China in Focus on YouTube. We're now sharing a shortened version of our program here after being demonetized for 3 years. If you'd like to support us, consider donating. Find us at donorbox.org/China-in-focus or subscribe to our partner platform Epic TV, where you can watch our full episodes. Here's what to look out for in our second half. Calls for a U.S.-China decoupling on two fronts as Western tech firms in China feel the squeeze and Washington readies further chip curbs on Beijing. A new report says Beijing and Moscow may use artificial intelligence to influence the 2024 election and spark division in the U.S. More details on an annual assessment of global threats from U.S. intelligence chiefs. And France now under fire over its plan for video surveillance at this year's Olympics, adding to the buzz a potential partnership with Chinese AI developer. More on that after the break here on China in Focus. Thanks for watching China in Focus. I'm Tiffany Meyer. See you tomorrow.